And anyway, that's why you always see a banana.
I'm John, and tonight I want answers about the House of Representatives and war in Israel. There's no stopping us now because we're live.
I'm John Thompson.
I'm John A. Vink.
I'm Keith Stattenfield.
I'm Loretta Beavers.
I'm AJ Minnick.
I'm Jennifer Sim.
I'm Bobby Chastain. These stories tonight on John Wants Answers.
John wants answers. John wants answers. Give John answers. Give John answers. John wants answers. John wants answers. Give John answers now.
Check your calendar. If it says October 12th, 2023, then we're live.
No one checks calendars.
No?
Just check your phone.
Well, there's a calendar on your phone.
Yeah, but no one even checks it there. It's just in the front. You just see what the day it is.
Okay. Check your phone. If it says
October 12th.
October 12th, 2023, then we're live. My guest tonight is Keith Stattenfield.
Okay, give me your phone back.
What do you want to do with my phone?
Light it up.
Okay.
Most people put like pictures of their loved one on their phone. John has a picture of John on his phone.
That's a John Wants Answers picture.
Okay. My point still stands.
Okay.
Do you have someone else who you could put on your phone?
Sure I do.
Okay.
Okay.
Maybe you want to think about that.
All right.
That's all I'm saying.
One time I was in the grocery store,
Yeah.
and I saw a phone sitting in the oranges.
Wow.
And so I pick it up and look at it, and it's a pretty lady on the
phone.
on the
Yes.
phone. And this guy comes up to me and says, "Oh, that's my phone. You found it." And like, he's not a pretty lady.
No.
And then he unlocked it with his, his eyes, whatever.
Yes. Sure.
To prove that it was his.
With a laser.
And I was like, "Oh, that's your girlfriend."
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Or someone. Look, we got a website.
Hey, go to johnwantsanswers.com.
There's no S because the S stands for.
No, there is an S in this one. That's only a Twitter rule.
Oh, okay. we don't X. I don't think it's called Twitter anymore.
I went to twitter.com today, and it went to what was known as Twitter.
That's just legacy.
Yeah.
That's not going to, like in a week or two, that's not going to work anymore.
Okay.
I'm waiting. I'm going to buy the domain name.
You're going to buy twitter.com?
Yeah, I've been checking when it's going to expire.
I'm sure it's just going to be up for sale, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll spend the $8.95 a month, and I'll put up.
What are you going to put up? Claims?
And I'm going to put up my own. I'm going to put up my own version.
Yeah.
Not your crappy claims
I've done
version.
that. I've done the claims.
I posted about this show on 4 of my social networks.
4?
And I did not post it on Claims.
Oh, well, that's not nice.
Everyone forgets about Claims.
Me too.
Yeah. Did you post about this show on Claims?
No.
Yeah. Claims is not going to take off, is what I'm saying.
It still might.
Well, okay.
The future's not for...
The future is not
told
fixed. That's
for-
correct,
yeah.
yes.
First up, we have old business. Indictment. Has Donald Trump been indicted on anything new?
I don't believe so.
Wow.
I
First
think
time.
that's isn't that 2 months in a row?
I think this is 1 month in a row.
I don't think he was indicted on anything new last month.
Last month, he was indicted on something new.
Why?
You don't pay attention to the show, do you?
No, I don't.
We had the
No.
exact conversation last month.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, others have been indicted.
Who?
Like Santos got indicted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Menendez got indicted twice.
Twice?
2 different indictments. They're related, but they're 2.
Oh.
Everybody's getting indicted. It's the cool thing to do these days.
I'm not being indicted.
Well,
I'm not cool.
give it time.
Are you cool?
No.
Oh. Who's watching this? 2
Everyone
non-cool
that
guys.
knows me at home went, no, he's not cool.
In that case, let's get right into it. Our first topic, Speaker of the House.
Or more particularly, the lack
Lack
of a Speaker of the House.
So what happened to Kevin McCarthy?
He got unspeakered.
Unspeakered.
Yeah, like he was Speaker, and then one guy was like, I don't want you to be Speaker anymore. And normally, that would not be enough. But then a whole bunch of other people also said, yeah, we're
It
willing.
took more than one guy, though. Like one guy
started
forced
it off.
the vote.
Yeah,
But then when the vote happened, a majority of people said, Kevin McCarthy is no speaker of ours.
that is entirely correct.
And it took, how many Republicans went along with this plan?
I think 8.
8. and all Democrats went along with it.
Yeah, because they didn't vote for him the first time.
Right.
I mean, you can't. If you don't vote for him the first time, you shouldn't.
And is 8 all it takes? Or they could have even done like 5?
I think it could have been less.
Yeah.
I think it could have been like 3.
Oh, wow.
Or
3?
4. And it depends on who's there.
Okay. Now this other guy, Patrick Mahenry, is Speaker pro tempore.
Speaker pro tem.
Pro tem?
I think it's pro tem.
Wow, you don't even say the last syllable.
Pro tempore. Speaker pro. I
Okay.
think you shorten it to pro tem.
Is pro temp Latin?
It's Latin.
And does it mean he can't do anything?
No, it means temporarily. It means speaker for the moment. Speaker.
But even so, even temporarily, he has no power to actually raise anything except a vote for new speaker. Isn't that correct?
Right now.
Uh-huh.
But normally, he is Speaker pro tem and has a bunch of things he can do.
So can he?
But the only thing he can do is elect the speaker, because the only thing the House can do when they don't have a speaker is elect a speaker.
Okay.
But like normally, once they elect a speaker, and they may or may not elect a new speaker pro tem, the speaker pro tem is the guy up front banging the gavel a lot of the time.
He
And
banged it
he's-
really hard that one
He
time.
did bang. Yeah, he was very.
And that's the only thing he's done so far? Have they been in session at all since then?
I don't believe the House has been in session since
Yeah.
then. They did adjourn
They adjourned
to
and then
Wednesday, and today is Thursday. I don't recall if they actually got called into session yesterday or if they just met in conference yesterday.
do all speakers give a list of people who will succeed them?
I don't think so. I mean, no. Any question that has the word all, you can generally answer with no, unless it's a mathematical proof of some sort. But I don't think most speakers give a list of who is going to be speaker next. Sometimes you know. I mean,
Let's say a speaker.
often the majority leader is considered next in line to be speaker when the current speaker steps down. But sometimes, but that's only when the speaker kind of steps down and the party remains in control.
What if like a speaker gets hit by a bus and the speaker is the leader of the party?
Well, the speaker is not the leader. Speaker is not the majority leader. Majority leader is always a separate position.
Okay.
I mean, in theory, the speaker is the speaker for the whole House. It's kind of unfortunate that speakers tend lately, in particular, to only respond to their own delegations' requests. If you go back 30 or 40 years, some of the speakers thought of themselves more as, we are the Speaker of the House of Representatives. We happen to be a Democrat, we happen to be a Republican, but we're going to make the House work as a governing body for the country.
That sounds like a
And
fantasy
so they
world
worked
you're
with
living in.
both. They worked with both Democrats and Republicans, but we have gotten considerably more polarized and partisan than we
Right.
were a while ago.
Okay.
Long ago there were two parties, but plausibly when I was 10,
So
the
the
most
60s?
liberal Republican was probably more progressive than the most conservative Democrat. So there were things that were not entirely ideological.
Right.
Sometimes the progressive Democrats and progressive Republicans would get together and vote something in. Sometimes the conservative Democrats and the conservative Republicans, conservative Democrats in the South, the conservative Republicans in the West, arranged to keep voting rights and civil rights things from passing for 15 years through the 40s and 50s, even though they were in opposite parties.
All right. So who are the leading candidates for Speaker of the House now?
The only leading candidate that remains now is Jim Jordan, because Steve Scalise, who had been majority leader,
He was actually voted in kind of by the GOP, right?
the Republican caucus got together and said, hey, who would we like to elect as speaker? A majority of the Republican caucus voted for Steve Scalise. I think it was 113 to
99?
90 something.
Yep.
Like 10 votes between them. So pretty close split, but Scalise had a majority. But you need a majority of everyone in the House.
They're not gonna get
And
that.
all the Democrats are not
gonna
going to vote for Steve Scalise, and they're not going to vote for Jim Jordan.
They're going to vote for Hakeem Jeffries.
They're going to vote for the current
yeah.
leader of the Democrats in the House.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they voted for all 15 times before. And so no one at present, if they had a vote tomorrow morning,
It's still
no one would get a majority.
Yeah. Is Jim Jordan like a right-wing crazy nut?
Yes.
Yes.
But
And
Steve Scalise is too.
he is, or
Yeah,
not
no,
as
they're
bad?
Both.
Or they're
Well,
both?
they're both bad in different ways.
Isn't there anyone who's not so right-wing crazy?
Yes, but they aren't running, and if they were running, they wouldn't have a chance to win a sizable fraction of Republican votes. And
So even Jim Jordan isn't going to be able to win.
well, it is very hard
217.
to say because Scalise has now said I am stepping away.
Is McCarthy still stepping away?
McCarthy has
He's kind of
a week ago he said I'm done.
Uh-huh.
I'm never going to be speaker again. I don't want to be speaker. That job's terrible.
Sounds
And
correct.
since then, he has made some other motions. Typical McCarthy. He's trying to
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops.
flip-flops. Yeah.
He has implied that he would be willing to be speaker again.
If they had no one else, he would.
Even if they had someone else, because they got Jim Jordan, and I bet McCarthy would rather be speaker than have Jim Jordan be speaker. I think we're quite certain Matt Gaetz is not going to be speaker because everybody hates that guy.
Everybody hates that guy.
Everybody hates that guy.
How's that guy still in office?
Well, you can't get rid of a guy.
Well, every 2 years they vote for him, right?
Well, yeah, with all the people in the House, there are 0 people besides Matt Gaetz in the House of Representatives that can vote for or against Matt Gaetz for a representative.
Okay. How many votes do they need?
It's like it depends on how many people show up,
Okay.
but it's around 215, 218.
Okay.
It's half of the House.
Half the House.
And the House is 435
need a
seats.
majority. So not just the person most votes. You need actually a majority.
You need a majority, yes.
Okay.
Of those present,
Is that in the Constitution or a rule of the House?
I believe it's a rule of the House.
So they could change that.
But
But
I
if they
think
did,
they need a majority
Hakeem
to change
Jeffries would be
Yeah.
elected, right?
that. Yeah.
And they don't want that.
I mean, if 0 of the Democrats showed up, then Steve Scalise would win.
Right.
Because you need quorum.
Yeah, yep.
And once you have quorum's half. Once you have quorum, whoever gets the majority wins.
What could they do to get all the Democrats not to show up? Like maybe throw a party somewhere else and invite all Democrats?
I don't.
No?
I mean, I think the Democrats have to decide we don't want to show up, and they're not going to do that.
Could the Democrats pick a Republican who's the least evil
Yes.
and then decide to all vote for him?
Yes.
And they have to convince only like 7 or 8
Yes, like
Republicans?
4. Yes.
Yeah. Or
In California, Willie Brown, famous Democrat speaker of the lower house, the House of Representatives in California, got himself elected speaker when Republicans were in majority because he convinced a few Republicans to vote for him,
Okay.
and all the Democrats voted for him.
And were everyone shocked when it happened? Or they're like,
They all went that Willie Brown is a freaking genius. And they all hated Willie Brown.
okay, so can we convince a few Republicans to vote for Hakeem Jeffries?
I think it is very, very unlikely.
So we're not going to have another Speaker of the House. I mean,
No, I think they will figure this one out in 2 or 3 days.
oh, you think so?
Yeah.
What do you think's going to happen?
At the moment, since Scalise has stepped down, I think it's reasonably likely that they will just elect Jim Jordan.
Well, even though
And then I think they will not change the rule that says any single member can call for a new election. And then 3 weeks from now, Jim Jordan will do something that angers
Matt Gaetz.
Matt Gaetz or Marjorie Taylor Greene or Boebert or Nancy
Pelosi?
Race,
No.
Nancy, what's her name? And someone will stand up and say, I would like to call for a vote for the speaker.
Can it only be Republicans who do that?
In theory, anyone can stand up and make that motion.
So
but
how
if
come
a
every
Democrat
single-
stands up and makes that motion, the Republicans are just not going to vote for it.
But I heard that there's a rule that says within the next 2 days they must hold a vote. That's why the Gates.
That's
he stood
correct.
up-
Yeah, you know, it's got to happen.
Yeah. And then the Democrats will all vote and like remove this guy.
Right, but they don't have a majority.
They just gotta
And
find-
all the Republicans would be like, we don't want to help the Democrats at all. So
They
they
only
would
find,
all vote
well,
for
it
the
happened.
current
It
speaker.
already happened this way. We had found 8 people who were like going to help Democrats.
Yeah, but Matt Gaetz was like, we're doing this because McCarthy knifed us.
Okay. Are we going to see out 15 votes for a new speaker? You think will it be that long, or they've learned their lesson?
I think they have probably. I think they will try very hard not to have 15 votes. They might have 2 votes.
Could they do ranked choice voting?
They could probably do almost anything,
Okay.
but they would have to vote to change the rules.
Are we going to get a new speaker before the government gets shut down in November?
Yes, but will we have that same speaker when the government is shut down in November? I mean, McCarthy made it 9 months. It's very possible the next Speaker of the House will not serve as long as Teresa What's-Her-Name in England, who
Oh.
didn't outlive a cabbage.
Right. But cabbages, they stay good for a long time.
They do. I mean, they didn't,
put in
they
the
didn't
fridge?
pick strawberries.
Put it in the
I mean,
fridge, it'll
you
last
know.
a month or something, right? Yeah. Now, Speaker of the House
Yeah.
is second in line to become president. Is that
Yes.
only if at the same moment the president and vice president are both incapacitated? Like if the VP dies, does the Speaker of the House become VP?
No.
No.
If the president passes away, the vice president becomes president, the office of vice president is vacant, the president nominates a person to the Senate, which confirms a new vice president.
Okay.
If the vice president passes away or resigns, the president nominates a new vice president. If that person is approved, they take the office.
So the Speaker
Now-
only gets called up if they're both.
Yes, but
At the same
it
time.
takes time to confirm a new person. So you could have the case that, the vice president resigns, passes away, and before the president can nominate and the Senate can confirm, the president could pass away. In which case, the Speaker of the House would move up to the big room.
Okay.
But
All
that's
right.
never happened.
Never happened. Not yet. It's been weird.
That's true. There's a lot of
There's
stuff.
never been that happened
There's a
where
lot of
the
stuff.
speaker
Yeah,
got
we've
voted out.
never removed a speaker. and-
Yeah, yeah. Well, all right, our next topic, war in Israel. So what happened in Israel?
It wasn't good.
Wasn't good.
Hamas, which is the elected government of the 2 million-ish people that live in the Gaza Strip,
Also a terrorist organization.
or and
Uh-huh.
a U.S. recognized terrorist organization. Had an incursion. They sent fighters/soldiers across the border and in gliders across the border into southern Israel. Killed a lot of people. Killed a lot of young people. There was a music festival. They overran that, shot a bunch of people, apparently knifed a bunch of people, took people hostage because they grabbed them and took them back over the border into Gaza. Apparently there were bombs, there were rockets, which are fired from Gaza. There are rockets fired into Israel almost every day, both from Gaza and in the north.
The West Bank.
And the West Bank. And Israel was apparently caught off guard. They either had an intelligence failure that they didn't know this was happening, or they had a intelligence failure that they knew this was happening and it didn't percolate up high enough to get troops in place to rebuff it or whatever. Israel is now mobilizing to fortify the southern border so that it doesn't happen again. They are returning fire into the Gaza Strip from the air, from planes and Israeli rockets. They are moving tanks. They have mobilized their equivalent of the National Guard, which is a very large, in Israel, every person serves in the military for a few years. Is that 18 to 20-something-year-old? Most people in the country are trained in how to use guns and tanks, and I think they've called up 600,000 people.
Wow.
To be prepared for whatever they are preparing to do next. And it is unclear what Israel could do, because it's not a war with a nice front lines with soldiers on each side and governments clearly in control. Because while Hamas is the, legitimately elected government of the Gaza Strip, it does not control its own borders. They don't generate their own electricity. They don't grow enough food for all the people that live there, right? Almost everything is imported.
Their own water they don't have?
They have water, but, water needs electricity and chemicals.
Is this all Britain's fault for plopping Israel down in the middle of Palestine?
Well, technically, God plopped Israel down in the middle of Palestine thousands of years ago.
Wait, was that in the middle of Palestine, or they just had Israel, then after a while Israel went away, and then 1948 Britain said, here's Israel again?
Yes, I think the United Nations was also involved, but
Okay. And they
here's Israel again was in theory returning lands that had been the nation of Israel for thousands of years,
Right.
and had ceased to be the nation of Israel when the Muslim and Arab forces pushed their way across the Middle East in the 600s, 700s, 800s, 900s. And
So there's no Israel back then, in the 900s.
well, there were still some Jewish people living in
Yeah.
what we would call, there were Jewish people living in Iraq. Not many,
Yeah.
but a few. But yes, at the end of World War II, it was thought that the Jewish people of the world deserved to have an actual nation, because a lot of really, really shitty shit had happened. And
Didn't Britain have a problem drawing new borders? Like, I think in Pakistan and India, a similar problem.
they didn't, in Iraq and Iran,
That's Britain drawing borders again, too?
yeah.
Oh, okay. So they're...
And, between Turkey and Iraq, there's these people called the Kurds that, turns out borders are hard.
Are they hard, or is Britain just lazily / bad at it?
Probably both.
Okay. So what's Hamas's beef with Israel?
Well, we just talked a little about it. I think there are some legitimate complaints on each side. You know, Israel was founded as a nation, and then very short years later, all of the people nearby tried to invade and kill Israel.
Right.
Israel has had to try to defend itself from its neighbors for 70, 80 years now. What are we talking, like late 1940s to today?
Right.
Lots, you know, the nations of the Mideast, for the most part, until recently, did not recognize the nation of Israel at all. They supported Israel's enemies. Israel, in order to defend itself, has occupied lands that were not made part of the nation of Israel when it was founded in 1940, and continues to occupy a lot of those lands today, even though in theory, you know, those are supposed to be and were originally thought to be the state of Palestine. The borders for Israel when it was drawn were crazy, and to me were always going to be difficult to understand. You know, there's this narrow, you know, there's part of Israel and then part of Israel and this narrow little thing between the two, and
The Gaza Strip is pretty small, right? Like, is it the size of the Bay Area? Or
yeah,
like
it's
the-
like
the peninsula,
it's
maybe?
like a couple miles wide by 15 or 20 miles the other direction. 2 million people live there.
So it's like San Francisco to like Palo Alto,
Yeah,
kind of. It's a very small area,
yeah, fewer
a
hills,
lot of people. Flatter.
flatter,
Hotter?
probably,
Okay.
but it's on the ocean. I guess we're on the ocean.
We're on the ocean too, yeah.
Yeah.
Whose side are we on in this skirmish?
The United States is, well, Israel is an ally. I think it is reasonable to say that the official position of the United States government is that Israel is our ally and we are supporting them, and we support human rights for everyone, and we want to find solutions that benefit peace and happiness and unicorns.
All right.
We are largely on the side of Israel, but I think we also recognize that people in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank and the Golan Heights, to a lesser extent, are human beings that deserve water and jobs and not to be imprisoned, yada, yada, yada.
Does Israel have nuclear weapons?
Almost certainly.
Is there a chance they'd blow up the Gaza Strip with one?
That would
Like-
not be good for Israel.
It's close.
It's right next door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember
Nuclear
we talked
bombs.
about, it'd be like,
How big's a nuclear bomb? Is it hundreds of miles radius of blast or tens of miles?
well, there's the fallout and the ensuing
And do
nuclear radiation.
does Israel's neighbors have nukes?
I doubt Syria has nukes.
Iran might have nukes.
Iran might, although we
they
don't
close by?
think so. No, Iran's quite a ways away. Iraq doesn't have nukes. Saudi Arabia, to the best of our knowledge, doesn't, but they
Okay.
could. They have a lot of money.
So
The Soviet Union or Russia could supply Syria with nukes. They're allies, and Syria
is Russia on the
just
side
ignored.
of Hamas or on the side of not Israel?
Russia is pretty close with the government in Syria, which is on the opposite side of
Okay.
Israel. But for a while, Russia also had reasonable relationships with Israel. Russia in World War II was responsible